I'm Annette Rose. Hi, welcome to Annette Rose TV. Today's video is a little bit of an indulgence. So we are here today to actually talk about my top 4 key actions that we all need to take in educating our children about gender equality. So sounds like a bit of a serious topic. It's probably going to be a little bit of a rant. We are going to give an award out to the Idiot of the Week. And yeah, generally just try and get to some really solid actions, because I don't think that our kids are going to learn this stuff by osmosis. I think we need to talk to them. We need to give them specific actions. We need to educate the children so that we have a chance of actually changing the future. All right, so let's get on with it. All right, so this week I have been reading a very, very interesting book, which is written by a guy called Klaus Schwab. Now, this is a very, very smart guy. He is actually the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, and his book is about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Now, that's a whole other topic where we can actually go off and talk about robots and AI and all sorts of exciting tech things, but that's not what we're here for today. In his book, he actually says that gender parity is actually now 118 years away. That is a really shocking statistic, and I actually couldn't believe it when I read it. 118 years before gender parity is achieved. It seems inconceivable, quite frankly, that could actually be the case. So there's obviously a lot of factors that need to be taken into consideration here. There are mountains of books and lectures and research and all sorts of things available that can give you more information. But today I actually just wanted to talk about our kids. And the reason I decided to make this video is because I was in the car with my 17-year-old son, and I'm really passionate about equality. I spend a lot of time talking about it. I have the occasional rant about it in my house. I would have thought my kids would have been pretty educated into this whole issue, and that there wasn't much more I needed to do. But as we were conversing one particular day, and I was expressing dismay that the promotion list for a well-known consultancy in the States had published a list of around 60 people who'd had promotions, and none of them were women. And my son said to me, "But Mum, maybe they were just more qualified." And I realised at that point that I needed to do more. I needed to take action, and I actually needed to educate him and my girls a little bit more about this topic, and know why the men aren't just more qualified, why there actually needs to be positive action taken so that women, that we do actually achieve gender parity. So, all right, so let's do some facts. I've got my facts posted up in my office. I know you can't see them, but I'm going to read them out. All right, so there's some interesting debate about whether women are a minority group. And what is interesting about this is that it may surprise you, but women actually make up just over half of the whole population of Australia. Okay, so this is relevant to Australia because that's where I'm based. And they actually make up around 47% of employees in Australia. Look, are we a minority group? I don't know. I'm not here to debate semantics, but what I do know is that we represent 50% of the population, roughly. All right, so women actually take home an average of $251.20, less than our male counterparts. And that means that in order for us to actually earn the same pay as our male counterparts, we would actually have to work on average an extra 56 days a year. Now, this video is not all about the mummy track and about the fact that women do significantly more work in the home than men. And again, I'm talking in broad terms. That may not be right in your household. I know I'm very lucky. My husband does an absolute shed load, as I have realised since he's been away for the last 2 weeks. And I am struggling a little bit to stay on top of the domestic duties. But in many, many, many households, women perform a startlingly high percentage more work in the home than men do, which makes our lives even harder. All right, so our national gender pay gap is currently at 15.3%. and has fluctuated between 15 and 19% for the last 20 years. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been stalled with a 15 to 19% pay gap between men and women. For the avoidance of doubt, that's women earning less than men for 20 years. Again, seems ridiculous that that could possibly be the case, but there you go. So for me, I think our children do need to be aware of the inequality in society and the workplace, and it's actually only through the awareness, the talking about it, and giving specific actions to our kids that we actually have a hope of changing it. So let's talk about my inaugural Idiot of the Week award. I'm thinking of making this a regular thing. This week, that award actually goes to Akbar Al-Baker, who is the CEO of Qatar Airlines. So this week, in a press conference, so that you know, it's actually the 6th of June 2018, in a press conference in Sydney, when he was asked about gender inequality, he made a really terrible joke. The joke fell flat. So basically he said, well, clearly my job has to be done by a man because it's so challenging. Brilliant. Yeah, not very funny. Also not very funny when you actually consider that 3% of commercial pilots, and this is globally, and less than 5% of airline chief executives worldwide are actually women. Now, this was reported by the fabulous Women's Agenda. If you are interested in this topic and you are not signed up to get their newsletters, you really should be. So that's Women's Agenda. All right. Congratulations to Akbar Al-Baker for achieving the Idiot of the Week award. And look, let's talk about sport. Maybe sport is more your thing. So in the last week, Forbes has also released its top 100 highest paid athletes list for 2017. And guess what? I can hear you waiting for this statistic. There were 0 women on that list. 0. All right. So I don't know if you find that surprising. I find it surprising. I find it shocking. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it shouldn't be surprising or shocking, but something needs to change. So let's cut to the chase then. What are my 4 hot actions that I think you need to teach your kids, boys and girls, whatever gender your kids are, they need to know about this. All right, so number 1, I want you to teach your boys to stand up and be counted on for supporting equality in the workplace when it's their time to be there. Now, maybe they can practice this at school beforehand, they can practice this at university, but when they get to the workplace, they need to support women. They need to promote women. They need to promote women ahead of themselves. They need to stand up for them. They need to insist on equal pay for women. If they are going into a job or if they're aware of a woman who doesn't have equal pay, they need to be standing up for that in the workplace. They should insist on paternity leave for themselves. They should take that paternity leave, allowing women to make different choices about what they do in that time, whether they come back to the workforce, whether they do more training, whatever it might be. Men need to take paternity leave. Because what that's allowing women to do is to actually take the opportunity to go back into the workforce earlier and to help to deal with some of those issues that arise when you're out of the workforce for a long time. All right, well, and of course there's also all of the wonderful side benefits of men getting to know their kids and understanding how to run the house, and actually, like my husband, to actually become a fully functioning member of the household chores that need to be done every single day. All right, so number 2, and this is one that's really, really close to my heart because I have been that girl. I want you to teach your girls to ask for what they deserve. Okay, I'm going to say it again. I want you to teach your girls to ask for what they deserve. So it might be promotions, it might be pay rises, it might be to get equal pay, so the same pay as their male peers going into the same jobs. They might be asking for flexibility, they might be asking for part-time work. Whatever it is that they need and they deserve, they need to learn to ask for it. Unfortunately, as women, we are, to a certain extent, genetically coded not to ask for what we deserve. We are coded to wait for people to notice. And here is the problem. People do not notice when you have done a good job. You need to tell them that you've done a good job. People don't just notice that you are struggling to cope because you need some flexibility in your workplace. You need to ask for that. And it's something that you need to teach your girls to practice throughout school, throughout university, when they get to the workplace, they absolutely need to ask for what they need, for what they want, and for what they deserve. Okay, we're not baked like men. And again, I'm not going to rant here about men and how men are much better at asking for sometimes even things they don't deserve in the workplace, and how often that results in women being put behind men, and it's unfair. Okay, all right. So the last 2 points are actually to do with management of money, and in particular, one of my kind of real passions at the moment is talking about how women can actually make sure that they have a secure financial future, and that when they get to retirement, no matter how far away it is, that they have a secure financial future in their retirement, right? Retirement could be 30 years. It could be 40 years. It's a very, very long time. And if you do not pay attention to this early, you could find yourself in a really bad place. So girls, I want you to teach your girls to overpay into their superannuation when they are young, when they do not have family responsibilities, when they do not have children, when they are not in a partnership. And when they go into a partnership, if they go into a partnership, I want them to keep overpaying into their super. This is really, really important for women to actually build up their super savings early, because what happens is, as we go along our life, maybe we have children, maybe we don't. If we do, there is no doubt that you are going to suffer serious damage to your super savings. So overpay into your super, and overpay at times that you can. Fourth tip, still related to superannuation, is that when your girls are out of the workforce, whatever the reason is, so if they take time out of the workforce, they get married, they have a partner, they decide that they are going to have children, whoever the primary earner is needs to be putting some money into her superannuation. Okay? The time that we actually take out for maternity leave to raise our children, sometimes it might be carers leave, because often women are in that carer situation where we're looking after aging parents. Whatever that situation is, whenever you are out of the workplace, you are not paying into your superannuation. And what that means is that when you retire, you are going to have a lot less capital. Okay, so you're going to have a much smaller lump sum than your male peers. And in Australia, that amount can be up to $120,000 less. $120,000 less. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're actually investing that lump sum of money, that is actually a significant portion of time in your retirement that you're actually going to be struggling. You're going to be finding you're going to be finding living really, really difficult. And this is why 40% of women are actually retiring in poverty. It is heartbreaking. There are many, many, many homeless women, older women in Australia who are really struggling right now. The age pension is not going to look after you. You need to get in there early. You need to be educated. We need to educate our kids, and they need to take care of this themselves. So please, please, please do not allow your girls to go into the world relying on somebody else to look after their financial future. It's just not cool. All right, so that's enough of a rant for today. I'm just going to recap on the 4 things I want you to teach your girls. And boys, sorry. Step 1, I want you to teach your boys to stand up for equality in the workplace. Okay? Stand up for the women that they're working with, stand up for equal pay, and make sure that women are being treated well. That's number 1. Number 2, teach your girls to ask for what they deserve. Okay, this is really, really important, and it needs to start now, however old they are. Teach your girls to overpay into their super. And finally, tip number 4 is to make sure that when they are taking time out of the workplace, if it is at all possible, they need to continue to pay into their superannuation. Okay, it's really, really important, even if it's a small amount. All right, thank you so much for watching today, watching my little rant. I hope that you have learnt some things that you can actually put into practice to help us to change the facts right now. I don't want it to take another 118 years before women get gender parity. I want that to happen now. I want it to happen tomorrow. The reality is maybe it's not going to happen with my generation, but we can certainly do our best to make sure that it happens in the next generation. So head over to the blog, so rosebeauty.com.au. There is a blog that accompanies this and a heap more information about taking charge of your financial future for women. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've enjoyed the video today. Check out my other videos and have a great